What's up, everybody? It's Greg Peters with the Car Passion Channel here, and behind me I have a 2024 Mazda MX-5 Miata Club Edition in Zircon Sand Metallic. This, of course, is the ND generation, and this revision is informally known as the ND3, the only revision that I have actually not driven yet. Now, I know a ton of people have been begging me to get into the NC chassis, and I hope all of you understand that I simply could not pass up the opportunity to review this car. It is not mine. It's actually owned by Mazda of Escondido. They graciously provided me this car to review, so huge shout out to Mazda of Escondido.
Well, these guys are the real MVPs. I was very impressed with just how clean and nice the showroom was. They have obviously a variety of ND Miatas to choose from, but everything else that Mazda has to offer as well. They had customer parking right out in front, and the icing on the cake, this poster. I mean, who doesn't want to stare at a 787B while they have themselves a little snack? So if you guys are in San Diego and you're looking to buy a new Mazda or get your existing Mazda serviced, make sure to put these guys on your radar.
Now, I could stand here all day and tell you about how this car gets combined 30 miles per gallon and has a Bose sound system and heated seats and Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, or some performance stuff like the standard limited slip differential, 6-speed manual gearbox.
Wow, you can read the brochure.
But what I actually care about discussing is, who is the ND Miata actually for? In my opinion, the ND Miata is for someone who wants the Miata experience, but doesn't want to deal with the problems of a 30-year-old box.
Huh?
Essentially, you get a bunch of the modern creature comforts, modern chassis and suspension design. Since this is a club, it's got the Brembo big brake package, paired with a naturally aspirated 2-liter that makes more horsepower than the factory turbocharged Mazda Speed NB. That's right, this is the most powerful Miata Mazda has ever offered.
Oh, but I bet it's heavy, bro.
That's where you'd be wrong. At just over 2,300 pounds, it actually weighs about the same as most first and second generation Miatas, making it also the best power to weight ratio in any Miata ever offered. Now, those of you that are familiar with the channel know that I street drive a 500 wheel horsepower NA Miata. And I'm not here to pretend that the ND is fast, relatively speaking. I don't want to hurt its feelings. But there's something that I miss about back from when my car was stock and only making 100 horsepower. And I think the ND has some of that core Miata spirit that you don't need a bunch of horsepower to experience. But there's only one way to find out, and that's take it out for a test drive in the only fashion I know how, on a rip through the canyons. Now, I did drive the car down to the little filming spot, but it was only a couple miles and I didn't even floor it. So I wanted my impressions to be as fresh as possible. We're out here on one of my favorite canyon roads. For legal purposes, this is a closed course and it's also on Mars. So my apologies that I did have to put 262 million miles on the odometer to get here, but hopefully the review is worth it. Anyways, let's hit the trail. Get a nice little rev on fire up. I'm gonna turn the AC off and melt myself in the pursuit of 5 extra horsepower. All right, first pull in the ND. Honestly, okay, so I've driven an ND before. I kind of know what they're about power-wise, but it feels good, even coming out of a really fast Miata. It's a nice flat power band, which is what the Mazda engineers really were going for. They didn't want something that was just all about peak power. They wanted something with a nice broad power band because that's what makes the car more drivable. It makes it so you don't have to downshift to the lowest possible gear in every situation to make it go. That was a nice wide sweep from like 3,500 almost to redline. We got a little bit of Martian traffic here, so I'm just gonna kick on the AC and just relax in my nice modern car. The seats are nice and comfy, but also bolstered. So when you're flying through the canyons, they hold you in place, but they're not so uncomfortable that you couldn't take a road trip. Is this guy's first time on Mars or what? Let's go. All right. Thank you. 6-speed manual gearbox, fantastic. Probably the best feeling stock gearbox of any Miata I've ever driven. Any gear is just like a flick away. And the shifting feel, in my opinion, is really important in a sports car. Like if you have a really clunky gearbox, it just takes away from the overall driving experience. This car is so new. It had 6 miles on it when I got it from the dealership. I swear I can smell like the smell of things heating up for the first time. It's crazy. I've already tripled the mileage. I'm sorry, that wasn't nice. I didn't actually blow the engine in the ND, but I am, however, blown away by the support on the Patreon page each month. I just want to take a quick second to thank you guys. Everyone who is subscribed to the Patreon is on screen right now. Thanks so much for your support each month. I actually took half a day off work to film the review for this ND, so doing stuff like that's a little bit easier with the support from you guys. For those who don't know, aside from getting your name in the videos each time, you get access to the videos a minimum of 1 day early with no ads during that day, and I also prioritize DMs on Patreon above any other social media, so it's kind of the best way to get a hold of me. All my other inboxes are just like maxed out all the time, so it's kind of tough to get to everybody. Also, speaking of that, I've been doing something for a few months now, but I haven't really announced it, and that's one-on-one video calls or voice calls if you prefer. And it's kind of for just general build advice or tuning advice, or if you're getting ready to take your car to the dyno for the first time and you want like kind of a checklist of what to go over before you take it, or if you have a list of parts for a future build that you're planning, we can go over it together and I can give you my advice based on my experience. So if that's something you're interested in, you can check that out down in the description below. I've done several of them now and everyone seems to be really happy with the outcomes, so figure I would actually announce that I'm doing them and maybe get in touch with some more of you guys. So anyways, thanks again for your support, and now back to the review. Okay, we gotta do it. We gotta throw on the goofy POV cam. See, plenty quick enough, especially for out here. So one of the #1 things people complain about in the ND is the electric steering. And frankly, I have no idea what they're complaining about. To me, what I feel, which I'm about to demonstrate through this next section, is precision, okay? Yes, the steering is pretty light, even compared to hydraulic power assist, but at the same time, the car just goes where you want it to. You can get the full Miata experience and feel like you're on a spirited drive without having the fear that, oh, maybe I'm pushing a little bit too hard and I could fly off the road at any moment. Because the car does have to be compliant and kind of soft to be well suited for a wider crowd, you know, you can always upgrade to coilovers later if you're not into that, but because it's more compliant, it's more confidence inspiring, and it has a much more gradual feeling when you get closer and closer to the edge of what the car can do. Easy. It's easy to drive. So I do have a lot of different Miatas to compare this to, both stock and up to very heavily modified. I'll be the first to admit it's not going to provide the full-on race car experience out of the box, but no factory car does that anyways. Thankfully, there are dozens of vendors actively developing aftermarket parts for the ND that you can shapeshift this thing to do whatever you want. But for an out-of-the-box car, it feels great. I mean, I'm out here having a blast. The one thing that's immediately noticeable throwing it through a set of corners is it is vastly different from the NA, my personal car, which is on a super wide semi-slick, very stiff suspension, can carry an incredible amount of speed through stuff like this, but it is terrifying. Even though it's my car and I'm used to it, to go fast through a set of corners in it and actually push the car a little bit is terrifying. This thing lets you know, hey, you know what? You might be pushing a little bit too hard, might want to back it off. It's very soft and like, again, I know I just said it, but it doesn't feel like it's gonna just kick you off the road. So I'm gonna go through that set of corners again. Looks like we have a nice little clearing. Let's go, dude. I'm just out here ripping at ND. So one of the benefits to the car being more compliant is it's still a really nice ride, even on bumpy roads, but it handles well. People complain about suspension that's overly soft, but it's not all bad. And the foot bay is plenty big enough to light off those heel toe downshifts. It's actually a little bit bigger than the pedal box on the NA, so you do have to spread your foot a little bit wider to be able to get both pedals. Oh, those Brembos. I'm just like barely feathering the brakes through there. If you're ready to kick back a little bit and just enjoy the countryside, bloop. So easy to drive. We're just cruising. And I don't want you guys to think that I'm speaking out of character and trying to say like, oh, this bone stock car is so cool when I have a 10-year history of heavily modifying cars. I'm just trying to bring to light the package of benefits you do get with a 100% stock car like this. Polskis. Straight up, this is what the Miata was born for. Like, what more do you need? All right, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed this little Canyon review of the 2024 Mazda MX-5 Miata Club version. And I guess all I'm really trying to say is if you are in the market for an ND and you take one on a test drive and you take it out on the highway, you do a little pull and you cruise it, you're really only experiencing like 15% of the greatness of what this car is. But if you're able to take it through just a little set of corners and put this thing into its natural habitat, you'll really get to feel that Miata spirit and see why these cars are so great. And if you are local in San Diego and you go to Mazda of Escondido, there are some very nice canyon roads only a few miles away from the dealership. Maybe if you ask nicely, you'd be able to properly test drive this car and I'm sure you'd be sold on it. So anyways, thanks so much for watching and I will catch you in the next video. Peace. This is Greg, Team Greg in the house. Used to work with him at Nissan. And this is who you guys are gonna come see when you're gonna buy that Zircon Sand Metallic ND that I just reviewed.
That's right, come holler at me. I'm finance manager, so if you want a warranty, let me know. If you plan on modding it, the warranty's not gonna do you any good.
Don't let him know. Then you come talk to me.
Exactly. Last time I was in this car, it was, you said 200 something horsepower,
yeah,
right?
I took him for a ride in like 2014-ish when I first boosted it, about 200 horsepower. So I'm taking him around the block real quick. We'll do like a 3-4 pull, and on the boost by gear setup, third gear is around 350 horsepower, fourth gear is about 450 right now. So it's over twice as much power as the last ride. This guy has a Chrysler Conquest I've been bugging him about for 10 years to get it running, so
It's been sitting for a little bit, you know, but you know, my buddy was talking to me, we're thinking about LS1 swapping it, you know, so that might be pretty fun. It's a little quicker. God damn. I think you broke traction back there, brother.
Okay, so this is just roll on and forward, so this is pretty much full power.
Okay. Yeah, Let's go.
I'm gonna review a 2024 and get arrested in the same day.
Suspension's good too.